Hello everyone, my name is Dave Carraher and this is my topic presentation for HCI and usability. In my presentation today, I'd like to cover the LeapMotion controller, which I'm going to call an HCI solution in search of a problem. And I'm going to ask you guys the question, what would you do with one? Now everybody loves motion sensing devices. Everybody's just fascinated with futuristic concepts of how are we going to control our computers in the future. The iconic scene from Minority Report with Tom Cruise as shown there on the screen comes to mind most of the time when people think about, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have computer screens that float in the air and we just control everything with our hands. Let's talk about motion sensing devices. What are some common motion sensing devices? Well, obviously, everybody's familiar with touch pads, touch screens. When you start looking into the non or touchless motion sensing devices, we get into things like the Kinect motion sensor. For the Xbox systems, there's the PlayStation Move for PlayStation. There are motion sensors that you can wear on your hands, like the gloves shown here, that use accelerometers. You have the motion sensors in your cell phones and smartphones that can detect the motion of the phone itself. And again, my topic for this presentation, the LeapMotion device, which hopefully some of you are familiar with. And if you're not, you will be in a few minutes. What is Leap? LeapMotion controller has been around for a few years actually, and it is a cell phone sized device that offers highly precise tracking of hand and finger motions. It is actually sensitive enough to map your hand and fingers. So it can create a picture of your hand and send that picture to the driver on your computer. And it can sense where your hand is, what position your hand is in, and what position your fingers are in. Well, that's pretty cool. I got a couple examples on the screen here of some demos that the LeapMotion website has. You can see on the left that there's a person who's using that LeapMotion sensor to control some images of his hands on the screen, and somebody playing some Fruit Ninja over there on the other side by waving his hand around instead of touching the screen. Not quite sure what the advantage is to waving your hand versus just swiping your finger across the screen, but hey, there it is. It works. Developers love these things. Engineers are just fascinated by new technology. Right now, the LeapMotion website shows over 221,000 developers have registered for this thing. That means that they've signed up and they've listed themselves as somebody who's going to download all of the software and start playing around with this thing. And this thing's not very expensive. If you go to their site, you'll see that this little controller is around 80 bucks. Less than $100 for a controller that senses your hand movements. That's awesome. But now we get to the big question. What am I going to actually use this for? Maybe some VR, that would be cool. Strap a little VR headset on your head and stick your hands out there and start wiggling those fingers. And let's play something or do something. But what are we going to do? Well, we've got 221,000 developers. Surely we've developed some stuff. I mean, this thing's been out for several years. The LeapMotion website offers an enormous, mind-boggling 400 code sample and demo projects. Yeah, 400. That's not an awesome average for the number of developers that are supposedly developing for this thing. Well, what can I use it for? Let's ask Leap. Leap surely knows what exactly they developed this thing for. I mean, after all, they're the ones that created it. Well, on their website, they suggest that some solutions would be for automobile market. Maybe a touchless dashboard was actually put into a concept car by a major manufacturer. Creative people, new ways to paint and perform music and do graphic design. Surely that would be an awesome application for this. Education, kinetic learners, research and development and higher education, healthcare, doing some VR surgery, be able to wave your fingers around over this LeapMotion sensor and kind of examine your patient virtually. Rehab, tracking motion of people who are trying to rehab. virtual reality, augmented reality, industrial, design and robotics control, and retail marketing. Maybe draw some customers in. They're walking down the hall and they see this neat little controller device and come over and wiggle their fingers and play some games or something. So we've got all these wonderful possibilities and all these wonderful ideas. Why doesn't anybody know about it? Ask yourself, did you know about the LeapMotion controller? It has been out there for years. And if you know about it, have you bought one? Do you use one? Would you want one? Let's talk about maybe some problems with using hand motion detection for HCI. That's what we're all about, human-computer interaction. What are some problems? Well, first of all, holding your hands in the air for a long time can be really painful. I know when I was in grade school, that was a punishment for kids who acted up. Go stand in the corner and hold these books in the air. So yeah, this is obviously not going to be a long-term type control system. It's unnatural to grasp or touch nothing. And if you're waving your hands around in front of the screen, what are you looking at? Are you looking at the screen, or are you watching your hands to make sure you're putting them in the right place? And is waving your hand about ever going to be as accurate as something like a mouse, where you can get down to pixel accuracy? And if you're a game player, where's your joystick? Where's your buttons? I'm missing some controls here. That's kind of limited what I can do. I mean, I can pinch and I can push maybe. I don't know. And how do I type? Everybody loves those little pop-up keyboards on their cell phones, right? Do we have to start doing that on our computer screens now? And how much screen real estate am I going to lose by adding those things like keyboard pop-ups and objects that my hands have to touch? The objects are going to have to be pretty big because, again, my hands aren't going to be real accurate like a mouse. Besides, I'm just really, really used to using a mouse. So what do you think? Summing up my presentation here, what do you think about the LeapMotion controller? Is it just facing marketing challenges? Am I being too negative here? Or is it really a good solution to a non-existent problem? I mean, we've got this device. Did the LeapMotion developers and engineers think, hey, I need this device to solve a problem? Or did they just say, hey, we could do this with technology? I'm thinking more the latter. So is it going to be more like the touchscreen, something that came out 10, 20, 30 years ago, but just never really got a good adoption until the right device and the right application came along? Smartphones. Every smartphone uses touchscreen. Or is the LeapMotion just another trackball or Connect? Yeah, you're going to have your fanboys and you're going to have your little clubs that just love the thing, but is it ever really going to get popular adoption? So think about it. If you think this is a good device and this is a real promising device for HCI, what's your killer app? Can you think of an application where hand motion sensing is going to be the best human-computer interface device? Something to think about. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you get a chance, please feel free to check out the LeapMotion website at leapmotion.com. All of the images and other content in here belongs to their original copyright holders. Thanks again.